Daryl Morey said something on the radio yesterday that has me excited. And Joel Embiid is on his way to being a back-to-back most valuable player.
Run it back, Philly. No frauds, no fanboys, no intros.
Run it back, Nation. What is good? Sixers Nation, what is good? If you are brand new here, we talk Sixers on this channel every single day. If that interests you, hit the subscribe button. Give me 1,000 likes on the video. Let's get down to business. All right, let's find out what he said, man. All right, man. This Philadelphia 76ers are off to a surprisingly strong start. Not surprisingly, if you're me, I'm not surprised. I told you guys they were going to be good. Listen, ahead of the Sixers' demolition of the Detroit Pistons, team president Daryl Morey told John Kincaid of 97.5 The Fanatic that he isn't feeling complacent despite their early season success. We feel very good where we're at. Morey said, we're not complacent. We know we need to keep playing better, keep improving, hopefully add someone maybe significant as well with all of the draft picks we have now. We do feel like this is the year we need to focus on. That's the biggest quote right there. That's the biggest quote right there. You know what I mean? He answered two things right there that we've been kind of milling over the entire offseason and this season so far, and since the James Harden trade when he acquired those draft picks. He answered two things right there. We're not complacent. Hopefully add someone maybe significant as well with all the draft picks we have now. We do feel like this is the year we need to focus on. A lot of people have, had this kind of idea that the Sixers and Daryl Morey were going to sit around and focus on cap space in the offseason. And I've said many times, isn't that risky? Or how many years do you want to mess around with Joel Embiid's prime? You know what I mean? You want to get it done now. And if you feel like you're a contender now, you don't want to wait until the offseason. So I love the fact that Daryl Morey said we do feel like this is the year we need to focus on. And he's also, in those two things being in the same quote, he's saying straight up, I am going to try to use the draft picks that I got in the James Harden trade to trade for a significant player that can take us over the top. That makes me feel great. I don't think that's a Zach LaVine. I don't know. You guys let me know in the comments what you took from that quote. This quote right here, let me know in the comments what you took from this exact quote from Daryl Morey. Do you think he's talking about a star? Do you think he's talking about someone like Alex Caruso or Malcolm Brogdon or OG Anunoby on an expiring who's probably going to get paid a lot this offseason? What do you think Daryl Morey's talking about? I'm just happy that he's putting it out there that I'm going to try to do something this season. I'm not focused on clearing cap space at the end of this year. We feel like we can win now. Morey says, especially around December, teams don't usually make big moves. Nick Nurse is already having trouble figuring out who to play from night to night just because we got a lot of really good vets, all who deserve to play. Whoa, the Sixers have depth. Somebody pinch me. And so we're going to add someone. And so if we're going to add someone, it's got to be someone pretty good who's better than our first 8 or 9 guys, which is not easy to do at this point. Let's see, what's 12 minus 9, 3. So he's saying Maxey, Embiid. Who's he saying as a third guy? He's saying we got to add someone basically who's good enough to be our fourth guy. If you're counting Tobias in there and Kelly Oubre, then, what's going on there? Either way. He's saying it's got to be somebody good. Not just a, and that's interesting too, because then he's saying we're not just looking to add like a backup center. We're not just looking to add like a backup point guard. We're looking to add someone who can be our fourth best player on the roster. That's interesting. We're always looking to upgrade, but we're not going to force anything if it's not there. So at the same time, you know how Daryl Morey gets down. If he doesn't think it's a significant upgrade, he's just not going to do it. You saw him sit around on the Ben Simmons trade. You saw him sit around on the Harden trade. He's not going to pull the trigger on something that he's not sure of. or that he doesn't think he's sure of because he thought for sure James Harden gave us a chance to win a championship, and we know how that turned out. There you go. Chicago Bulls guard Zach LaVine, Toronto Raptors forward Pascal Siakam, and OG Anunoby would be clear upgrades in that regard, but it's unclear which of them would be available by the February 8th trade deadline, and the Sixers could clear $55 million in cap space. If Daryl would actually do a trade for Zach LaVine, I don't know how I would feel about it. I would absolutely hate that 4-year, $200+ million contract. He would be an upgrade, but he's not worth the money he's being paid. And we already have a guy who's not worth the money he's being paid. Give me your thoughts on that. And the Forbes writer says if the Sixers can't make a marquee splash at the trade deadline, they could instead look for some potentially less expensive options. Pistons wing Bojan Bogdanovic, who just dropped 33 points on us last night. He's averaging 17.5 against in only 4 appearances. He scored a season-high 33 on 11 of 19 against the Sixers, including 5 of 9 from deep. And, Nick Nurse's system could make something major out of Bogdanovic. I think I would love Bogdanovic as another role player on this squad. According to Michael Scotto of Hoops Hype, the Pistons passed on trading Bogdanovic for 2 first-round picks from a contender last season. They've maintained a steep asking price of first-round pick and a prized young player. They have expressed that it would take a large offer to acquire Bogdanovic between that. Yeah, they're trying to drive up the price. You can't bullshit me, Detroit Pistons. Morey says, especially with Boston, I thought they did some really good offseason moves, but when we watch them and we've played them quite a few times, we see a team that we can beat. Exactly, Daryl. That's what I've been saying, bro. I'm not phased. I'm not shook. I'm not sold on the Boston Celtics this year. They have a lot of weaknesses that we can exploit. They are very beatable. They're going to be a very tough series if we get the chance to face them, but we do see them as a team we could beat. We don't see them as Golden State in 2017 or whatever. Milwaukee as well. Obviously, we've only played them once, but we feel like that's a team we could beat. We can beat Boston or Milwaukee. And if Daryl adds something to the trade deadline, look out, guys. So there's what Daryl said, and I just love the fact that he threw out there. We're trying to make a move to improve our team this season because we feel like we are a contender right now, and I'm going to use the draft picks that I got in the James Harden trade to do my best to add a significant player to this roster. And, give me all your thoughts and opinions on it. All right, just a couple of things on the greatness of Joel Embiid and how Nick Nurse has absolutely taken him to a new level this season, which is crazy because he was MVP last year and led the league in scoring 2 years in a row. First center to lead the league in scoring 2 years in a row since Shaq in 2000. He's probably going to be the first ever center to lead the league in scoring 3 years in a row. He's making history again every single game. And there's a couple things here. First of all, Joel Embiid has sat out 7 fourth quarters in 20 games played, and he's averaging 33.8 points per game, 11.5 rebounds, 6.4 assists, 1.8 blocks per game, 1.1 steals per game, 52.4% field goal percentage. To average these numbers while sitting out 7 fourth quarters in the 20 games that he's played, it's absolutely ridiculous. And last night, Giannis dropped 64 in a game, and he played till the final whistle when the game was already over. How many 50 or 60 point games would Joel Embiid have this season if he wasn't sitting out fourth quarters? If some of these games against bad teams were even a little bit close, he might have the most 50-point games in a season in NBA history. But anyway, Joel Embiid over his last 9 games, of course, absolutely ridiculous. 41, 34, 38, 50, 30, 35, 32, 32. And again, it's the rebounding numbers this season that stand out to me a lot. Just the absolute effort on the glass, and you know what I mean. The Nick Nurse effect is real. You can tell Nick Nurse has had several conversations with him and meetings with him and practices where he said, "You are bigger and stronger than everyone. You need to be asserting your dominance under the glass," and he's finally doing it. Hit 30 and 11 at halftime. Hit 30 and 10 at halftime yesterday. And by the way, players in the last 10 years that had 30 and 10 at halftime, Joel Embiid and nobody else. Joel Embiid is third in points per game all time despite playing considerably fewer minutes than anyone else around him. Michael Jordan, Wilt Chamberlain, Joel Embiid at 31 minutes. Elgin Baylor, Kevin Durant, LeBron James. I mean, it's just absolutely ridiculous. And you can say what you want about him in the playoffs, but he has the highest point per minute in NBA history. Statistically, is Joel Embiid the most unstoppable player in the history of the game? Just statistically, point per minute, game by game, is he the most unstoppable player in the history of the game? I know what you're going to say in the chat. Not until he does it in the playoffs, bro. I don't care about nothing until he does get us out second round. Oh, shout out to Sean Bernard. Here's the fun one, guys. Here's the fun one. Joel Embiid's stats this season and ranks across the NBA. 33.8 points per game, 11.5 rebounds, 6.4 assists, 1.8 blocks. PER, first. Win shares, third. Win shares per 48, first. Box plus minus, second. VORP, second. Usage percentage, first. I remember a couple of years in a row, Denver fans hanging on to the holy grail of advanced stats, PER, player efficiency rating, and also win shares per 48. And, you know, our argument for MVP was always Joel Embiid's the most dominant player on the planet. He's leading the league in scoring, and he plays both ends of the floor. And without him, the team is just not good. They always had this advanced analytics thing on us. They could always pull out these fancy numbers, and Jokic was leading everything by a mile. Look out! Look out, because Nick Nurse has now taken Joel Embiid's playmaking to the next level and has now elevated everything around Joel Embiid and built the perfect system around him that is now equaling Joel Embiid not only being the most dominant player in the game, but the most efficient player in the game. And he's taken over numbers like PER numbers and win shares per 48. You let me know in the comments, man. Is Joel Embiid going to win MVP again? Because he's significantly better than he was last year when he won MVP. I don't see anyone else in the race. I don't. That's all I got, man. Give me your thoughts and opinions in the comments. Hit the like button. Y'all have a great day.